With I Predict A Riot, it still seems to me to have that power that it did back when it came out over 10 years ago. What do you think it is about that song that did so well for you guys back then, but still is able to resonate with people now?
Yeah, I think it's. The chorus obviously is catchy. It's simple. The title of the song is the chorus, which I think is a trick that a lot of people miss or try to subvert for some reason. It's like if you've got a catchy phrase or something, use it. Call the song that, because then it'll just become, it's a phrase you can search on the internet, that sort of thing. But I think somebody said years ago and stuff about our songs, like, you know how to hit a chorus, Mm-hmm. Like, you know when it's coming, so you've got the verse, you've got that little bridge bit coming in, and then you know it's going to hit the chorus. And I think that ramp up to it, and it happens obviously like 3-4 times in the song. Yeah. I think always, even the most unmusical person in the audience gets it. So even when we were playing it to 100 people, and I playing it to 15,000 people, whatever, it's still musically, you know what's coming, there's an explosion coming. And I think that's the sort of, and everybody's supposed to chant it and shout it. You hear the gigs and stuff, and I've got in-ear monitors, and you can hear over the top of that. You can hear the crowd, just better than anything else that's going on. Yeah. So I think it's. Everybody likes a chant, don't they? Like a chant and an anthem, and it's almost like a thing like soccer or football. It's almost like a football chant because it's so concise and so short. The chorus. Yeah. And I think and then the rest of the story is a story about nights out on the streets of Leeds because we hadn't been anywhere else before. We barely been to London or New York and all that. Yeah. So the story is about kind of a rough night out in Leeds, on the streets of Leeds. And I think a lot of the people of Leeds and Yorkshire, the county that we're in, I think identify with that a lot. And there's a lot of pride and kind of almost like possession going on there, I think, with that song. I think it's a song that will always be sort of associated with Leeds.
For sure. Well, when you were writing it, did you have a feeling before it came out that it was going to be a notable song and something that you guys would become recognized for?
Yeah, I think, you could tell, like our managers and our rehearsal and that sort of thing, listening to stuff and friends. I mean, we made like a rough, me and Nick used to do all the recording and making these really rough, terrible demos. And, there's definitely something about that song. It's interesting, we found a bit of paper in it, and clearing out many boxes and storage places and whatever rehearsal rooms that we got. And in it was a list of songs, like 16 songs to record for the album. And then number 17, written in a different pen, was I Predict A Riot, which means we wrote that near the end of the writing session. It didn't exist in the early tours and in the early writing sessions. It wasn't there. Yeah. And it's interesting sometimes how the last, like a hit can come in at the last minute. It's quite the same thing that actually happened with Ruby on the second record. That was right near the end of the writing process as well. Right. So it's kind of whatever, whether the pressure mounted. People often say, you deliver your best things in the pressure and the times. And then a record label saying, we want another single. But I remember Nick teaching me he wrote the verse thing on the piano. It's the piano part of it, like ding 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 ding, that sort of stuff. Yeah. And he teach me that, and it's a really weird sort of loop, awkward bit. And I was like, is that right? Are you sure it's right? Shouldn't it be shorter? I don't have a little argument with him about that. Yeah. And then we didn't really have a chorus. We had the little bridge that after the verse, and then I Predict A Riot chorus wasn't actually there. And I seem to remember, and Simon's told this story as well, I think Simon said to Nick, we can do a better chorus than that, why don't you go on and write one? And the next time we came to rehearsals, we had the I Predict A Riot bit, Yeah, that's cool. Yeah. There you go.
All these years later, is this still one of the more fun songs to play live?
It's good, like I was talking before about the reaction, it's good because the guitarist at the beginning, the down, 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 that bit. Yeah. As soon as that starts, and the lights go down, and we got some crazy lights going on, and you see people just going, they're like grabbing the mic, like, come on, we're going to, this is it, we're going to go for it, going to go crazy. Mm-hmm. So watching the reaction from the crowd always makes that song enjoyable because the intro is so recognisable. So it's still definitely highlighting the set, and it's quite interesting when you watch. When you're on stage, there's a little bubble that you're in, even when you're attached to the crowd and you're feeling you're vibing off the energy, you're never quite, it's not the same when you see somebody with a camera phone afterwards who's showing you it. and they've got, they're just panning around the arena, and the entire place is singing Predict A Riot, and you can't really see that from the stage all the time. You're like, fucking hell, right? Yeah, it was a good gig, right? It was a really good gig. But sometimes you can't tell, but to really often see from somebody else's perspective, you get a real idea of which songs, lift the crowd, and